12 when she first showed up at the U.S. Women's Open. A ponytailed kid launching drives like she didn't get the memo about fear. By 19, she was a major champion. Now, after 11 LPGA wins, countless roars, and more scars than the stat sheets admit, Lexi Thompson is stepping away from full-time golf. So, here's the question. What do we lose when a player like this leaves, and why does it feel like her kind is disappearing? We'll get to the penalty that changed the rulebook. We'll get to Vegas, where she flirted with history against the men. But first, how did we end up with the last of her kind? At 12 years old, Lexi became the youngest qualifier in U.S. Women's Open history at the time. A child among giants, she didn't make the cut, but the message landed. This one played big. She played with feel, with risk, with that combustible mix of power and emotion. And in a sport that was trending toward algorithms and error bars, she represented something beautifully human. She turned pro at 15, and within a few years, her name was on winners' lists. She eventually notched 11 LPGA victories, one of the highlights being the 2014 Kraft Nabisco Championship, where the 19-year-old closed with a bogey-free 68 and celebrated by leaping into Poppy's Pond. That win proved the sport could still reward fire, but that fire has a cost, and on the biggest stage of her life, in front of the whole world, she'd feel it. The moment that changed everything. 2017, ANA Inspiration. Final round Sunday. Lexi's in control. Every swing looking like destiny. Then, mid-round, a quiet conversation changes everything. A rules official walks up to her. Something's wrong. The crowd buzzes. No one's sure what's happening. Only later does the truth come to light. A viewer watching at home had emailed in, pointing out that the day before she'd replaced her ball just a fraction off its original spot. Not a foot, not even an inch, just a hair. 4 penalty strokes for the mistake. Needless to say, her lead evaporates. She still claws her way to a playoff, though. Because of course she does. But the damage is done. The backlash was instant. Within weeks, the USGA and R&A changed the rulebook, reducing how much slow-motion replays and viewer call-ins could influence rulings. Golf didn't erase technology, but it admitted something important. This game is still played by humans at real speed. Lexi became the catalyst for a rule change that protected players from over-analysis. We can measure everything, but we don't have to weaponize it. She didn't win that day, but she did something harder. She stayed the same player. The next time the moment called for emotion over math, she still answered with instinct, playing with feel, emotion, and that same fearless swing that made her who she was. Watch Lexi in full flow, and the pattern's simple. See it, trust it, send it. Every strike makes the crowd gasp. There's that split second of disbelief when her drive flies farther than anyone expects. Her record backs it up: 11 LPGA titles, more than 90 top 10 finishes, and years as one of Team USA's most reliable players. The numbers don't define her, they just prove her game wasn't reckless. It was fearless. If you want the purest example of her voltage, though, let's leave the comfort of the LPGA and head to Las Vegas. Shriners Children's Open, 2023, a PGA Tour event. Lexi joined the men on the PGA Tour that week, and for 2 days, she stole the show. After a solid first round of 73, she caught fire on Friday, 5 birdies in a 10-hole stretch, finishing with a 69. Even par overall, just 3 strokes shy of making the cut. She didn't advance, but that wasn't the story. The crowd felt it, the energy, the confidence, the refusal to play it safe. She wasn't there for show. She was there to compete. It showed us that any sport is more fun when someone's willing to risk embarrassment to chase awe. Then, in May 2024, on the eve of her 18th consecutive U.S. Women's Open start, Lexi announced she would step away from a full professional schedule after the season. Not disappearing, just choosing life beyond week-to-week leaderboard math. She wrapped up her full-time LPGA career later that year. But before she put the suitcase down, there was one more roar to deliver, and it came wearing red, white, and blue. Robert Trent Jones Golf Club, Virginia, Solheim Cup 2024. Lexi pairs with rookie Lauren Coughlin in foursomes, and they don't just win, they dominate, closing it out 4-3. It set the tone for Team USA, who finally took the cup back, their first win since 2017. The numbers might show who scored the most points, but that's not what people remember. What stays with you is the vibe, the cheers, the emotion, the pulse of the moment. Even in an era ruled by data and stats, it's the personalities that make you care. Lexi was one of them. So, why are players like Lexi going extinct? Here's the thing. Modern golf has become all about control. Every move is mapped, every swing analyzed, every risk calculated. It wins trophies, sure, but it also smooths out the rough edges. The wild shots, the bold calls, the flashes of personality get replaced by predictable perfection. Lexi came from a time when players trusted their gut. She didn't overthink. She felt the game. If she saw a chance to take on a corner or attack a pin, she went for it. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it blew up. But you could always feel the courage behind it. That kind of raw, emotional golf is getting rare in a world obsessed with playing it safe. But let's not romanticize the past. Data doesn't necessarily kill passion. It just shows players where they could improve and helps them stay competitive longer. The question isn't between numbers or soul, it's whether golf still makes room for the messy, memorable ones inside a world built for precision. That's the challenge, to create a game that rewards strategy but still lets the instinctive players play by feel. Because golf needs both. That's why we can't let golfers like Lexi Thompson go extinct. Sports aren't just scoreboards. They're stories between shots. When you lose players who make you hold your breath, the space between the numbers starts to lose its heartbeat. You tell us, if you had to choose between clinical greatness or volatile genius, what kind of golf would you want to watch next?